We begin with a developing story this evening because the plane carrying the body of South Africa's late ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, is due to leave Paris this evening. His family has been performing rituals in the French capital ahead of his body being brought back home for burial on Sunday. Let's go live now to an airport in Paris, bring in SABC News correspondent William Denselow. William, you've been with the family for much of today. How much longer before they begin their journey home with the ambassador's body?
Absolutely. First of all, a little bit of context. I'm speaking to you live from Charles de Gaulle Airport. Behind me, actually, is the check-in desk for that flight, that Air France flight from Paris to Johannesburg. Now, important to note, the family have not gone through this checkout area because of the diplomatic and ambassadorial status that is under the purview for the entire family. They are able to go to a different section of the airport, but they are certainly here at Charles de Gaulle Airport waiting for that flight to take off in roughly an hour's time or so. You mentioned time spent with the family. Well, I was with the family a little earlier today at the Hyatt Hotel for the fetching of the spirit ritual. This was an opportunity for several members of the family, including the late Ambassador Mthethwa's son, to go to the hotel, the last place, or the place that his body was discovered. They went to the 22nd floor, the room that was booked under his name as far as investigators led to believe. And they also went to the courtyard where his body was found during a routine security sweep just over a week ago. Speaking to me a little earlier, the son of the late ambassador said that this was an important part of the repatriation process. He said that this was providing a little bit of closure for him and for the family.
And William, where are we in terms of the feeling among the Mthethwa family members? Because the widow, at least, and her brother have been in Paris for just over a week now. The son was also able to speak to you today. How are they feeling before they make what will be their final journey with the ambassador?
Absolutely very difficult, especially considering the fact that some of the relatives have been travelling in the past 48 hours, some elders even arriving from South Africa just this morning and will be heading on a flight back this evening. So plenty of weariness, plenty of emotional baggage as well, plenty of pain. It has been a tough 48 hours considering the fact that just yesterday there was a memorial service at the morgue, an opportunity in eastern Paris for friends and family to see the coffin, to sprinkle some holy water on it. It was draped in the South African flag, an opportunity really for people to put their hand on the coffin to say some goodbyes. So another opportunity for a little bit of closure there for people to pay their respects. So certainly a difficult time, but what we've been hearing from the likes of Dr. Buthelezi, the brother-in-law of the late ambassador, the family spokesperson, has said time and time again just how important the repatriation process is. So while it's been obviously incredibly difficult for the family during this time, certainly a degree of relief that this repatriation is taking place in a timely manner and for the funeral to be held over the weekend.
And what about the investigation then, William? Because as things stand, the French authorities, for their part, are treating Ambassador Mthethwa's death as a suicide. But there was talk of a South African team of investigators also flying to the French capital to help piece together some sort of detail around what had happened in the hours before his death and ultimately how he met his demise. Where do things stand?
Of course, still plenty of unanswered questions. That's something that the family are hoping for, just to better understand exactly what might have transpired and why it might have transpired as well. Of course, that'll be something for the investigators to continue to work on. Family members will be travelling back home to South Africa, but that certainly doesn't mean that the investigation stops. Far from it. French investigators have been working for over a week on this case. You rightly mentioned that South African authorities, a member of SABC, is in France this week working with their teams. Now, this has been somewhat of a difference in approach that we heard from a few days ago, where we heard that 5 investigators would be working hand in hand with French authorities. That has been somewhat corrected. Now we understand that it'll just be a single person working really on a listening brief, hearing from French investigators to better understand what exactly the French team have been working on, if they have any questions, an opportunity to raise it with the French authorities. So far less of a concurrent type of investigation, more an opportunity to listen and to help probe the French authorities to ask any pertinent questions that the South African side might still have during this process that's very much ongoing. For example, the autopsy, we're told, could take weeks, if not months, to be fully revealed. So this is a process that could, well, last a while.
William Denselow, SABC News correspondent at Charles de Gaulle Airport in France this evening, where the body of South Africa's ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, will then leave the country with his family after the performing of certain rites ahead of his laying to rest in KZN on Sunday.